Leave a like and subscribe for more content. After getting harassed about the placement of one of you in my villain tier list and the countless text debates and questions I got regarding his placement and why I consider one of you a horribly overrated stand, I kind of felt forced to make this video. Tooru stand, one of you, is a complex stand that is constantly misunderstood, which allows for everyone to make these inaccurate interpretations of the stand and its description. Araki is kind of iffy when it comes to the narrative of the stands and tends to forget a lot, but later attempts to justify it in the last chapter of Jojolion. In this video, I'll be going over just why Wonder View isn't this powerhouse of a stand that the community tries to make him seem like he is. Before I get into this video, there's a lot of power scaling terms that I want to just briefly explain before I start, so there's no confusion. You can skip if you power scaling, you know these terms. Hacks is a catch-all term for abilities that can be used to ignore or bypass one or more of a target's statistics, rendering them relevant. Basically, just like soft and wet, go beyond. This has no effect on how strong the character is, but rather is an ability that can bypass its inferiority of the opponent. To use an analogy that would fit this explanation, Diavolo is stronger and faster than GR, but the reason that GR is capable of beating Diavolo is because of his return to zero, which essentially is what Hacks is. Blitzing is the act of moving so fast that the character's senses are not capable of keeping up with you. So if character A moves so fast that he appears to be teleporting to character B, then character A is now a blitz tier above. Now that we got that out of the way, Calamity itself is just karma. Basically, if anyone attempts to harm Tooru, we'll activate his hacks, which is a combination of 3 manipulations. The definitions of these manipulations will be on the screen. Basically, Calamity itself is capable of making the probability of a plane crash or just draw parts that are able to somewhat bend physics and fate it to place exactly where the attacker is. That right there is essentially just fate, probability, and causality manipulation. The chain of logic and reasoning, as he explains, is the causal changes that will occur if somebody were to pursue him by triggering the flow of Calamity. The act of pursuing is what triggers the cause, and the misfortune is what is reflected back to the attackers, which is the effect. Calamity will slowly encroach on the attacker in ways that seem unreasonable, does not activate instantly. This panel right here, Wonder View stated to be an ability that allowed Tooru to use his own ends. So either the ability, Wonder View, allowing him to physically manipulate and send a dislike misfortune towards whoever he wants to, or it's a passive ability that came with the stand when the stand first awakened, which means that he has to engrave this law that anyone with intentions towards him pursues him, Calamity itself will activate. But if it does activate, it does scale to speed. So asserting that the scan that Wonder View itself is instantaneous is disingenuous. We know that this is the case too, because it took the plane's part that dropped almost 4 to 5 chapters to reach the attack. Another instance, K actively pursued Tooru but is killed minutes after. Josuke and Ray were actively pursuing Wonder View, and Calamity itself was only activated moments later. So if Calamity itself needs time to fully activate, we logically cannot assert that the progression of causal changes are instant, but likely scale to around whatever speed Wonder View is. Wonder View can react to Josuke, who should realistically be around the stand born this way. The general consensus will be that he scales to motorcycle speed, considering that he is and literally acts like a motorcycle, and nothing suggests he's faster. How would Wonder View function in the neutral verse, that is in Jojolion? This is a question I get a lot. Calamity is something that just naturally exists. Karma is something that I feel like is universally accepted, and Tooru will simply manipulate it to his advantage. But Tooru's weakness is his speed, which makes anyone faster than the speed of sound a threat, considering that they can move much faster than what he's capable of perceiving. So if you blitz Tooru before he's capable of using Wonder View, then you should have nothing to worry about. Unless your character is capable of hitting through dimensions such as Johnny, Joestar, and Vanilla Ice, since they technically don't exist in the current universe or attacks, and that they are fighting or can just hit through dimensions. This pretty much wraps up the video, and if you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to help this channel reach to 1000.